Howdy, gang. Welcome. We are so delighted and excited to be with you today. It is that magic moment in time. It is the People's Panel. Hey, people. Hey, people. How we doing today? Yeah. Today's conversation, it is the critical careless crisis. That's right. Weaponized apathy and what to do about it. Right? So here's the thing. We've all experienced this critical careless crisis. We've all been in that business where they couldn't care less. I mean, literally could not care less. And we've been on that phone call where we're screaming at the phone, operator, because they don't care enough to even answer the doggone phone and serve and support the people that actually, pay them. So, but we also have had that experience where we walked into our favorite restaurant with our favorite server who knows exactly what you're having, exactly everybody at your table, and knows enough to ask about your kid's birthday coming up this Thursday. So, the careless crisis and what to do about it. Who would like to start us off?
Dino, I appreciate the fact that you think they're still operators. Like, I think that was what I heard that was amazing there, is that there's still people that are taking phone calls and directing people on phones. Hey, I appreciate you getting us going, Dean, and you're a master at coming up with these sayings and these phrases, which are terrific. And it does say a lot. In fact, it says most of what we've been talking about, and that is just trying to keep and maintain and hopefully facilitate better customer service, because it has evaporated in so many different markets. So because I want to start with something positive, I will tell you, I had an experience with a local ISP, internet service provider, that ended up right on the heels of one of the conversations we were having. So this is how it is done. This is how it can be done. This is, in my opinion, how it should be done. And there we are, I'm already saying should. But so I got a phone call of somebody saying, I just wanted to see how the service was going and if there's anything else we can be doing. A personal call with a return phone number that's local from somebody who's in that office, that I ended up going back and saying, hey, I got your phone call. By the way, everything's fine. I just wanted to come in here and say, thank you for doing that. And that's amazing. And how are you doing this? And what instigated it? So here's what instigated it. That's just how they do business. And because that's how they do business, they're growing and people are happy. And if they have a little bit of a rate increase, because that's happening everywhere, people are likely to not get as frustrated. They might still ask questions, and sure, it's money, likely to stay with them, and maybe even look at some packages to say, well, because we've gone through this, here's some other offerings that we do have. Maybe we can move you into this, because now they're having the conversation rather than getting stuck on a phone tree or inside of somebody's website trying to figure out what's going on and going, I'm just going to see what everybody else is doing and then I'll make a decision. So there you go, Dino.
Right. I know.
It's a culture.
Go ahead. Yeah.
It's a culture. And I think, we train customer service a lot here inside organizations that are already working with us in their leadership. And one of the questions that I always ask customer service organizations or pods of customer service is, what is the last customer service positive interaction that you remember? And the answers that come out of those groups are always my hairdresser or my dog groomer, because to Tim's point, they remember my name, or they remember, my dog's birthday. They remember this really small tidbit. They almost never say, I get great customer service because they gave me a discount. I do repeat business with these people because they have a personal touch. And that is a culture inside these organizations, and sometimes they're smaller organizations, but in their rare instances, these are big organizations that are empowered to make their customers feel like they are important, no matter the size or scope. And so if you can keep in mind what made you personally feel well served, and you turn that around and pay that service forward, you will allow that feeling to go forward. And that's what we're trying to duplicate, because we all know we will speak forward about a negative interaction. We're trying to talk about a positive interaction moving forward, because that's a referral. We all can tell you the nightmare stories, and we're going to get into those here in just a few minutes. But what are the positive ones that you want to hear? And as an owner, the ones I want to hear other people talking about my business when I'm not there. Those are the stories I want told behind my back.
Right. Listen, you want to be represented in rooms you aren't even in a good and a positive way. And here's the thing. We get to put human kindness back into humankind. And that's really all we're talking about. This is not extraordinary. It is not at all. This is just basic civility and just regular, when did it become the strategy that do nice, be good, do nice became a strategy? It's not. It's
Right.
not. Yeah. Somebody have a story they want to share, and then we also have some solutions for you. This is not just
I have one, as you guys know. Can I say the name of the company, or should I be nice and not say it?
Yeah, you can. I'll leave that to your discretion.
It's a.
We don't want to. Are we going to shame people? Maybe.
Yeah, we will. I'll be nice. But anyhow, my wife and I go into a big box store to buy a new washer and dryer, and sales guy was nice and friendly and said, "Hey, you get this. You get these two. You qualify for this rebate on your delivery. So essentially, delivery would be free." So I get online, try to get the rebate. I get denied. Eventually, I keep following up online, and they say, "Got to talk to the store because it didn't qualify." So I go in the store. First person says, "Well, you didn't qualify for the rebate." Well, my salesperson said I did. Is he here? So get over to him. He admits, "Oh yeah, I told you to qualify." I said, "Well, what are you going to do about it?" So, "Well, I know what I'd like to do about it." So he hem-haws around for a bit. And so I got to go talk to the manager. Goes over to the manager, who ignored him for like 5 minutes while I'm standing over there watching this, because the manager was busy setting up the store with his other staff for tomorrow's customer. So, finally comes back over. My manager said, I can give you $25. And I'm like, well, I'm supposed to get the rebate for like 150, 175. And so have your manager come over and tell me that. So he goes back over. He has to wait for like 10 minutes. The manager looks over and sees me at the desk. Finally, he walks over, and here's the capper. He walks over and goes, "What do you want?"
Whoa.
And I looked at him and said, "I want my money that I was promised." And he goes, "Well, what?" And he starts to ask salesperson, "What happened?" And the guy, he hem-haws around. He goes, "Just give him a rebate on this thing," and walks away. And it was just like, well, that was nice. You're the manager, and you treated me like that. And it was just that's my story of everything that was done wrong. The managers, if we want a solution, what should the manager have done? Real simple. Come over and said, "How can I help you today, sir? I apologize. You're having an issue. Let's see what we can do about it." But no, it doesn't do that. Instead, it was like I was inconveniencing him. Yeah. And that was the part where you get that careless part.
Yeah.
Well, and I think more than anything, Chris, what kills me in that whole story is how he approached you, right? Like, at what point did we stop with, "Hey, good to see you. Thanks for coming in. How are you? Nice jacket." Like, one of the top things that always differentiates me when we're de-escalating that type of situation is, "God, sir, I love your hair. Nice jacket. Good to see you. Love your shoes." And it always knocks people right off of their inflated anger or their ego or whatever they've brought in. And it makes the interaction human. We talk about this almost every week when this group gets together. putting the human factor back in every situation. And that is what causes people to stop caring. And that's exactly what we're talking about today. Please, for the love of all things holy, can we please start caring about each other? Even if you don't know each other, please start caring that the other person is human.
No doubt. No doubt. And that is a nice jacket, Kat. I think I would like to add too with Chris. I mean, it's unfortunate because you walk out of that feeling going, well, do I take the rebate and leave with a feel like this, or do I just say no, thank you? I'd rather go to another place, and if it's a little bit more money, I'd rather reward or influence another company that might not have the rebate, but at least they're going to appreciate the business and potentially give you. I mean, not even potentially. We know they're going to for sure. If they're, kind, like the things Kat is just laying out there, you're likely going to get good customer service. I mean, how many times you're going to want to call that same organization if it fails and go, hey, can I talk to that same manager that shamed me when I was in there earlier? Because something happened to the appliance, and I'm pretty sure he's going to help me. So you want to be able to call people that you know, like, and trust and care about and all that stuff. So this seems like a no-brainer, which is interesting to me that, like Dean said earlier, it's become what was almost a given if you wanted to be in business and actually have profit, used to be a given, is now, to Dean's point, strategy. So, we'll talk about it as strategy, but for anybody that's been around for a while, this is what business used to be before it cratered.
Well, think would you treat a friend? I mean, real simple. If a friend walked to your door, how would you treat them? Would you go, what do you want? Or would you say, hey, Bob or Tom or Mary, what, surprised to see you here. Well, I'm having a problem at home. Can you come help me? I mean, it's that simple. Just be nice, as Dean so eloquently put it.
I'd like to turn this on its head and tell a story of something that happened to me some years ago. We have a fairly long thing that you use to cut trees. So it's an extended pole saw, but it's also electric, or it uses a battery. And at some point it stopped working. And so I thought, well, we need to get this fixed, but I have no idea how to get it fixed. I tried to fix it because I like to take things apart and try to fix them. But I failed. So I thought, well, I'm going to take it to my local hardware store and see if they can refer me to someone who could help me fix this. So I put it in the car, and all I wanted was a referral to someone who could help. So I get to the hardware store, and I want to say this hardware store has a culture of being very helpful. And I take the pole in, and I'm standing there, and someone comes up and I say, I'm looking for a referral to a human being who could help me fix this. And they say, oh, talk to Jim over there. So Jim is an older guy. He looks like a skinny version of Santa Claus, and he had twinkly blue eyes. He was really kind of cute. And he comes over and he says, well, what do you need? I said, well, I'm looking to see if you could refer me to someone who might be able to help me fix this. Jim looks at the tool. He says, well, we don't sell these here, so I'm not sure. But then he takes the whole thing apart and works on it for a half an hour to fix it. Now,
ta-da,
that was really nice. So I want to talk about the relation between culture and behavior. This was at an Ace hardware store. And you know the slogan, Ace is the place with the helpful hardware man. Well, Jim was the perfect helpful hardware man. I mean, he did exactly what a helpful person would do. And I was so struck by how helpful he was and how that fit with the slogan and the culture of that company. So that I just wanted to add that, and we can get on with it.
yeah.
A real quick
I love
question,
that.
Leslie, if I can ask real quickly. So like, was your process after that to go back in there? Like, did you demonstrate, hey, I'm going to come back and support this business. I'm going to walk in. Like, what was the result of that interaction?
So that we go there instead of going to the big box stores.
Right. Right.
Because it might cost a little more, but we know we can get what we want. We know we'll get help. If we want, 2 bolts that are this exact size, they'll point us to them and sell 2 bolts to us.
Right.
In a little brown package. So, so yeah, we go there instead of going to the big box stores. So yeah.
Well, speaking of culture,
we actually had a comment, Chris, and then I'll let you jump in. So somebody commented on our LinkedIn stream, and he said, this is what causes us to not lose the heartbeat of our workplace. And to Leslie's comment, I think that is it, right? We talk about culture and we talk about behaviors, but that actually may be the more indicative word, which is the heartbeat of what causes our customers and our employees to want to stay and cause our companies to stay alive. So kind of maybe hit it a little bit more on the head there.
Yeah, I was going to add about culture is that it starts inside the organization. So it's going to start from the CEO on down. How does the CEO treat his people or her people? How do the people that in that organization treat each other? And you see it if they like each other, they're working with each other. I'm not talking about never disagreeing or never having to make tough decisions. I'm talking about how you do that every day. If it's a culture of friendliness and culture trying to work together, those things impact the way those people treat their customers and clients.
Yeah. And it is a human condition thing. It is a culture of charismatic doing what it is. And what precedes? Okay, so what's the solution, the antidote to all of this careless crisis? For me, it is what precedes caring. And that is curiosity, being genuinely, authentically, meaningfully curious about the people, the situation, to seek first to understand, then to be understood. All of that kind of stuff, then it gives you the opportunity to go and create a little bit of, empathy or understanding, or it might be that you might have to say no as a guest interaction specialist, right? You might need to say no. And what's a better way to do that? Well, I don't know about you, but who loves to hear the word no? Can I have some more ketchup with my fries? No. What a simple little thing, but what if we TV'd that, or transformational vocabulary? What if we just simply change the language we use and achieve the same result? What a great question. Let me see if I can make that happen for you. Or let me check with somebody, or hang on a second, or you know what? Yes, we don't provide extra ketchup unless you want to pay for it. Or, a simple language distinction could make all the difference. And that all starts by being more charismatically curious about others, the situation, the circumstance, than anything else. If that customer service expert or inexpert came up to Chris, by the way, what's interesting, Ace Hardware, that place of the place, or the home of the place with a helpful hardware man, where Chris had a very low experience. So, I'll leave you to figure that out for yourself. So, interesting, isn't it? So, ideas, epiphanies, inspirations, cares, questions, concerns, considerations. How about you folks?
Love it. Dean's throwing out a new title. I caught it. Guest interaction specialist, for anybody that's paying attention to the titles that Dean's making up as we're going along here. Anybody wants to use that one? Guest interaction specialist, and TV'd that. This is great.
Great.
I hear a lot of these a lot of the time, Dino, but I'm taking notes myself. Thank you. Just
you need to get out more, is what.
Listen, if people are not always taking notes during these panels, then they're massively missing out, because we all are taking notes during these panels typically as well. So, one of the things that I think is imperative is organizations that have a yes attitude. And Dean, you kind of hinted to it, but we were actually on vacation recently, and the hospitality staff where we were staying has an amazing leadership. And we were talking about how they train new hospitality members, and her twist on what she says, she was fumbling with. And I said to her, I said, well, it's not what you can't do, it's what you can do for your guests. And she looked at me kind of for a minute and she goes, I'm actually going to use that. That's exactly what we want our bar managers and our bartenders to say. We want to be able to tell you what we can do for you, not what we can't do for you. But I also think that it's the leadership and owners' role to ensure they have a product that people want. And this gets stepped over in the clients that we take on very frequently. When we step in and you're having a hard time with your, whatever your problem is, that they run the gamut these days. Do you have a product or service that is not just what you think is a great idea, but what someone wants to buy? Because if your customer service or your salespeople are struggling and you have not stood back quite yet and said, do we have a product or service that is easy to buy or that people want to buy, that whole line needs to be examined. You can have a customer service team that is willing to say yes and be easy to deal with and have great customer service, but the product might also still suck, or it might be outdated, or it might need to be updated. So make sure that when you are taking on this Cares Magic initiative or you're working with your customer service team, you have a product that is easy for them to service and to do great things with. This is not a siloed problem that we see customers, our customers or our clients sometimes have a narrow scope with.
Absolutely.
Well said.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well said. That's true. Just because you have to have something that people are interested in engaging in so that you can demonstrate everything that we are saying. But that usually takes, if I'm hearing you correctly, Kat, that usually takes back to this culture and this way of communicating with people so that you can connect with the marketplace and find out what the need is. How can you adapt to the change? What is it that they're asking for? How are they asking for it? How can you do it differently than the people they've already asked? But I don't know how you're going to get that information if you're not doing the human interaction and listening to what Dean was saying earlier and being available and saying, well, that's interesting. Can you please tell me more? We haven't thought about that. That's something that we'd like to take a look at. Would you be willing to share more about what you're looking for? What are some other problems that you have? And before you know it, you have the marketplace helping develop something new for you, so you can turn right back around and sell it to them. Or about better way to say that is to provide a service to them that they're willing to pay for because you solved a problem for them.
Yeah, I mean, your customer service team is so valuable, right? It's almost underrated because they are the front line. Just like your salespeople are the front line, your salespeople are selling a new product, but your customer service team is actually out there dealing with people who have tested your product and who have used it and could potentially have a complaint or a potential development in it. So if they are dealing with someone who is either going to be an advocate or a detriment to your product, those are the people who could be the most crucial front line to your product. You need to hear them internally. You need to be able to have great dialogue with them. They need to have strong leadership. They need to have again, we'll go back to that heartbeat word that John mentioned in our comments. They are a true pulse point in your organization. And so if you're going to deliver great customer service, it needs to be in a line, in a pull through in your organization.
Right. And this
or
is
you're
not
going to end up with Chris's situation.
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely. And this is not just B2C, business to consumer, business to business,
No.
or business to government or business. This is in the marketplace. This is in the work culture environment. This is in your household. This is everywhere. And instead of B2B, B2C, C2B, whatever, all of these things, it's all P2P. All of it is P2P, people to people. When we understand that simple idea, we understand it's just about people connecting with other people and serving, supporting, encouraging other people. All of this ridiculous careless crisis melts away into the ethos. It no longer exists. When you move from selfish to selflessness, then things change.
So I want
when I go
to
back
add,
to when I was young, where did I get it to be? I've always known, oh, you're helpful. Well, it started with my dad. I mean, he was like, hold the door for your mom.
yeah.
Help her carry in the groceries. When I was in scouting and he was one of the scout leaders, like we clean up the campsite before we leave. We make sure we clean everything up. Same thing when I was in Little League, he was like, no, we cleaned the dugout up, made the whole team make sure the dugout was clean. We didn't leave papers out. And you start learning it. What you're teaching young people goes through that process. We do it the CEO program. We teach high school kids how, that are starting businesses, how do you connect and engage with other people? And it's all about that people part. How do you be helpful to them? And it starts with that whole attitude. And I think one of the things that we can do societally to change it is how do we raise our kids, our grandkids? How do we influence the young people in our communities? And I work with a lot of communities and all the businesses need new people and they complain these kids are coming out of high school, can't go to work here because they live in the cell phone thing. They don't know how to talk to people. And then they complain about, I can't get somebody to do good customer service. Well, teach them how to do it.
Right.
So
Teach
I
them
want
to
to
care.
talk about as another aspect of this that Dean alluded to. It's in our workplaces as well. I typically deal with leadership issues, and some leaders are facing the careless crisis that their employees no longer really care about their work. There's the quiet quitting issue. There's the issues of people just not caring about the quality of the work or caring about getting their work done on time. And so I was talking to a client recently who was dealing with the struggle of how to get his remote workers who happen to have different cultures turn their work in on time and help the project plan move forward. And I realized that, people, well, I know, and I told them, people don't want to be managed, but you can inspire them. And that's rather than trying to manage them by saying, get this here on Friday, or else you want to say something that inspires them to want to deliver their work on time. And in his case, they were dealing with something that could have a life-changing impact on people in the world. And so this is an easy one, but it can be done under any circumstance. So here's the deal. What you do when you can't meet one-on-one with these people or in a group is you provide them some inspiration in a story. And the best way for people to get a story is probably going to be a little video. So let's say you're building a new battery for electric cars or something. Let's say you're building a new battery for electric cars. And the people are, getting their work done whenever they want. Inspire them by telling them what their product will lead to. So when you've completed this new battery, people will be able to take their cars on longer trips. And even this battery will be good enough so that we can have flying autonomous vehicles, a taxi, say, to come pick you up. Now, what could be easier to make a video of than that? I mean, you just need to have a picture of the Jetsons, and there you go. So you inspire them by showing them, oh, we're building something that's going to change the world. When our product is done, people will be able to hop in their airplane taxi and take them to their office or take them across town or whatever it is, and have the video that shows they don't have to be stuck in this really busy traffic on the 405 freeway in Southern California. They just hop right over it because now we have this faster way of traveling. Inspire them to feel like they are contributing to a legacy. And then here's the deal. They need to deliver their piece to Tim over here. Hi, Tim. To Tim over here, who needs yours to be done before he can work on his part. And so you show them who they are responsible to and who's responsible to them. So that's just the chain through a project plan. In any case, something like that can inspire them to say, "Oh man, this is exciting. I'm working on something really important," rather than, "Oh, it's just 8 to 5, whatever."
Right, right.
Dean, I think you have a fan in the comments. Obviously, Daryl is a huge fan of yours, so I want to give him a shout out, just like we have for a few of our other commenters. We have quite a few watchers today, so obviously we've spiked a nerve, and that's good because hopefully that inspires others. But Daryl has asked kind of a good question here, and Leslie was commenting kind of right along the line. But his question is, and we're over time here, so we're going to hit this super fast, and then we'll get going. But management should, can I ask, management should empower staff to make decisions and back them up. Frontline staff deal with patrons every day. And Leslie's comment obviously was inspiring them. I think Daryl is right in his question here. Should we inspire them or empower them? I believe it's individuals, right? Some individuals need empowerment, some need inspire, and some need just a good old boost. So it depends on the individual. But shout out, Dean. You got some love in the comments, my friend.
I love that. I love that. Brother Daryl, all the way from Toowoomba, Australia. So we have an international audience here today. And also, hey, I think there's an underlying current there that should we empower and support those frontline workers? In other words, if there's a guest interaction and an opportunity to actually support the frontline worker, should the management, like in Chris's story, should the management come by and say, you know what, I don't care what the problem is, we're going to make it right. We're going to, this button says, yes to the dress, no matter what you ask. And the yes might be a no, but we'll at least have that conversation or whatever it is. Should the management back up the frontline people? And the answer is, I believe, anybody else have a different answer, is an emphatic, big fat, yes, sir, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So
it costs you a little money as a company to keep the customer happy. I mean, the bottom line of this is if you lose customers, it costs a lot more to get a new customer than it is to actually retain a customer, even an unhappy one. Yep. So do what you can to keep them, because it costs a lot of time, talent, and treasure to get them in the door in the first place.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you, Brother Daryl. Appreciate you, mighty man.
All right, Dino. Well, we definitely picked a hot topic this time, so everybody's stories resonated really, really well. I always love seeing you guys and doing this, but we're over 30 minutes.
Okay.
Right? But we care enough to go a little bit, just a little bit.
That's right.
It was my jacket. I know it was my jacket. Tim said.
That was just for compliments the whole time on that jacket, and Tim did it. So.
And it's spectacular and marvelous.
I was fishing for Chris's haircut, but then you guys went to my jacket, so I don't know. I thought it was Chris's haircut. So,
well, thanks for joining us, everybody. And hey, listen, if you have a careless crisis story or something you want to add below, and more importantly, what can we do about it? How can we make a positive impact, make a difference, and create that charismatic culture of curiously connecting so that we can communicate more effectively and then collaborate together and create a culture that cares for people that over anything else. So once again, thanks for joining us. We are, once again, everybody wave, the People's Panel. Have an awesome, super sparkly, spectacular day and beyond. Adios.
Bye, everybody.
So anyway, she left without turning us live. So thanks for joining us. Everybody have an awesome, super sparkly. We'll all close the thing, and it will close down hopefully at the same time.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye now.